It's hard making these videos after another loss, but this one might hurt a little bit. What is up, Finn fans? So I'm recording this Sunday night. You can tell I'm wearing the same shirt as the post-game recap video. I will be releasing this Monday morning. At what time? Probably 10. If anything does happen, a firing, a trade, whatever, I will post a video when it happens. Hopefully I'm home for when it happens. Right now it's 12:30 at night. And I did a lot of thinking, a lot of writing, a lot of note-taking, a lot of what's going on with this team, what happened to this team, what is going... it's just a lot. And then what is going to happen with this team. But before we jump into that, like usual, gotta shout out my guys, patchvibes.com. Check them out. They got great stuff, from patches to the cup my dad was using, to pins, to t-shirts. You've seen me wear their t-shirts. Check them out. Use the promo code DDW2. You get yourself 20% off in backroom collections. Absolutely fantastic canvas artwork. You've seen the Ricky. I think he's down there now. I got to put him back up. I got a Marino one coming my way. I have a Jason Taylor one. They don't just do NFL. They don't just do Miami Dolphins. Go check them out. Use the promo code DDW and you get yourself 20% off. So the Miami Dolphins right now sitting at 1-6. No one in there. No one. You can't even be the most pessimistic Dolphin fan on the face of the earth. No one saw the Dolphins going 1-6 in their first 7 games. Looking at the schedule, right? Even if you said to yourself, they're going to lose to New England and they're going to lose to Buffalo, right? Say you said that to yourself. You had them beating the Jaguars. You had them beating the Falcons. And probably had them beating the Colts. So worst case, sitting here right now, they'd be 3-4. Worst case. But on a 6-game losing streak, especially after beating the Patriots in New England, I don't give a rat's, whatever you want to say, how they won that game. You know, it drives me nuts that I hear this, right? You know, if it wasn't for that fumble, the Dolphins wouldn't have won a game. Yes, of course, but it did happen. And then Tua made the audible on 1st and 14. We converted the first down and we won the game. So yes, the fumble is big, but so is everything else. And I hear that all the time. You know, if it wasn't for that fumble, Doug, we would... Yes, and if it wasn't for a ref who was blind in the end zone, we would have beat the Raiders, because that was obviously pass interference on Will Fuller. And if it wasn't for a few drops against Buffalo, we don't know. We'd be tied at halftime. Something would be different. And if it wasn't for Jacoby Brissett not having any eyes in his head against the Indianapolis Colts, we might have beat them. It's a lot of ifs and buts. So if we're going to play that game, we can play that game, and Dolphins should be 3-3 right now, 3-4. But they're not, so they beat New England in New England. And after that game, we were feeling pretty good. You know, Buffalo game's going to be hard. We were looking ahead. Bucs game, we're going to lose that one. Then we got the Bills again. We got there's games that we're going to lose. And then we see the week 1, the Jaguars suck. And we see this team sucks. And all right, we should win these games. The Raiders game. No one thought we'd be sitting here at 1-6. No one. So looking at this team and what the flip happened, right? I want to talk about 2 teams that were kind of in the same situation as Miami. And that's the Cincinnati Bengals and the Los Angeles Chargers. Cincinnati Bengals, today for me, yesterday for you, beat the crap out of the Baltimore Ravens. When was the last time you can say that the Miami Dolphins beat the crap out of the Baltimore Ravens? We beat the Baltimore Ravens. That's how you could say, we beat them. They completely owned the Baltimore Ravens. The Bengals have a fantastic standing right now, sitting at number 1 in the AFC North. You got the Chargers sitting, I think they're tied for first in the AFC West. You look at both those teams, and that's how you rebuild a franchise. You know the type of quarterback you're getting. Joe Burrow, all right, cool. We know how you play in Louisiana. We know how, the LSU offense and how that works and stuff. All right, we're going to implement that when you're a rookie. boom, tears his ACL. Well, we can't have that happen again. We're going to focus on building the offensive line, even though they did take Jamar Chase instead of Penei Sewell, but Jamar Chase is doing something fantastic. They did it right in Cincinnati. Fun fact, their head coach was the Miami Dolphins quarterback coach. And I thought he was a bad head coach. Apparently not. Then you look at the Chargers, right? Tyrod Taylor goes down, punctured his lung. Justin Herbert comes in. He's got Keenan Allen. He's got Williams. He's got something there to build off of, but his offensive line is hot garbage. What do they do out? They throw a ton of money at Lindsley, bring in a great center. They draft a fantastic tackle, and all of a sudden they build around Justin Herbert. They bring him in a fantastic offensive coordinator that worked with Drew Brees. They bring him in a head coach that knows what he's doing, and they build around him. Two organizations in the same area as the Miami Dolphins in 2020. All three of them needed a quarterback. All three of them going in a different direction. Miami Dolphins go out, they grab Tua Tagovailoa. Regardless of how you felt about him in college, he had everything around him, blah, blah, blah. You could say the same thing about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had one of the best offenses around him in those wide receivers, one of the best defenses around him. You could say the same thing about Joe Burrow. But okay, Tua's coming in, big hip injury. If you go back and watch my draft recap, that scared the crap out of me. I'm like, the kid's got talent, but that injury is going to scare the crap out of me. Why not focus on building the offensive line? Why not focus on building the trenches, right? In 2020. They kind of did that. Bring in Ted Karras, they bring in Eric Flowers, and kind of help shore up that offensive line. They draft Austin Jackson. Feel like they should have been more aggressive, moved up in the first round, grabbed a better tackle. I talked about that back in 2020 when I did all my mock drafts. I said, if you don't take a tackle at 5, you ain't getting one at 18 because there's going to be a run. And that's exactly what happened. There was a huge run, and he couldn't even get his right tackle that he had at Alabama. And we got stuck with Austin Jackson. And as of right now, even at left guard, Austin Jackson sucks. So there's a lot of moves that didn't happen, that the Dolphins were like, all right, well, we have Tua Tagovailoa, but we have Ryan Fitzpatrick. So we're going to bring in Shane Gailey, Ryan Fitzpatrick's offensive coordinator, and Tua, you're going to sit and you're going to learn. You're going to learn from Fitz, who's a very good teacher. Actually, you know what, Tua, we're going to throw you in there. You don't understand the offense? That's fine. Just do whatever you can do. Just don't, like, you see what I'm talking about? Do you see the difference in the three scenarios? It's not an excuse. I know you guys are just making excuses for Tua. I'm not making an excuse. It's factual. Look at what the Bengals did for Burrow. Look at what the Chargers did for Herbert. Look what the Dolphins did for Tua. You could say they drafted offensive linemen, Doug. Yeah. And this is something we're going to talk about too with what is going on with the Dolphins. They're on such a young kick, if you want to call it that. We're going to be young. We're going to build young, and we're going to build for the future. You need some veteran leadership. You need some veteran talent. You need experience. You can say to me till you're blue in the face, because I said the same thing about Ryan Tannehill when people said the Dolphins did not help Ryan Tannehill. They did. Brought in Brandon Albert. They Mike Pouncey. They Incognito. Juwan James. Mike Wallace. You know, I can name players that they try to help to Ryan Tannehill, but it was the wrong choices, and they did it again for Tua. But the thing where they messed up the most for Tua, and again, this isn't about a Tua rant, but I'm talking about the three different organizations in the Bengals, the Chargers, and the Dolphins, because that's where it kind of all starts, is the veteran leadership and the experience to help. Dolphins had the experience, and now we're going to transfer over. Again, this is comment below. Tua. It's not about Tua. It's about building a team. You saw how all these teams built for their quarterback, how all these teams built and saw the deficit that they were dealing with. It ain't about Tua. It's about building a team, and I'm going to get to the rest of that. So, we had Fitz. I wrote a list of free agents we lost in 2021 from either being cut or we just let them walk. Fitz, Breida, Ted Karras, Matt Hawk, Gotchow, Jermaine Mjorner, Kyle Van Noy, Bobby McCain, Eric Flowers. And I named those names because those guys are actually, well, except for Matt Breida. Matt Breida has been inactive for the past 4 games for Buffalo. He's a wash. He was never good in the first place. We traded for him, just so you know. But Ryan Fitzpatrick, if he was still here, now again, they probably let him go because they didn't want Tua having to look over his shoulder and think, oh, they're going to put this guy in eventually, which Tua shouldn't have played last year. I'm on the record for saying that. Tua should not have played last year. It was all about, oh, look at the hype he got against the Jets. Let's throw him. Tua should not have played last year. But if Fitz was the backup, we would have beat the Colts, Raiders, and possibly could have beat the Bills. Because Fitz also, if you go back to last year in week 2, Fitz got real close to beating the Bills. So we could have done differently there. Ted Karras has a 72 PFF grade. 0 sacks, 0 penalties on 144 snaps. Way better than any center we got going on right now. They tried to go for Andrews. That didn't happen. Maybe we could bring back Ted Karras. Well, that didn't happen. Let's go for... I don't even remember his name because it's not even important anymore. Then they get Maines. Dieter's going to be our center. And now we got a Ritter, who I don't even think Ritter did that bad. And then we have Hawk, who it's about the same. Him and Pilardi, about the same. I think he has a 4-yard difference positive on his punts. It's about the same. Devon Gauchow, he's about the same. It's a wash with him and our DTs. Jermaine Elmjorner, I think that's how you say his name. He's actually a really good guard for the Oakland Raiders. Why did we let him walk? Maybe our talent evaluator, whoever makes the decision on the offensive line, sucks. Kyle Van Noy, he was a good veteran leadership. I think we paid him too much to jump. I think if we gave him less money, I would have liked to keep him. But again, he was a veteran. Bobby McCain, I think Javon Holland is doing just as good as Bobby could have done. But again, it's that veteran leadership in the backfield. And Eric Flowers, 70.6 PFF grade, 0 penalties, 0 sacks, and 389 snaps. And I was thinking to myself, right? Why are we so bad this year, but we were so good last year? And it's because we let the veteran leadership, we let the experience walk, thinking that not we as in us fans, but the organization knows better and they can coach up the young talent. We can coach up this young talent, this young offensive line, this wide receiver core that, again, I talked about this multiple times. I got a ton of flack for being skeptical about this offensive line. They can't stay healthy. They cannot stay healthy. They can't stay healthy. And I was even talking about in my free agency thing last year where I was like, all right, they're not going to spend big money, but you can still go out and get this wide receiver, this wide receiver. I never really talked about Will Fuller. I was excited when they got Will Fuller. But you know why I never really talked about Will Fuller? Because he can't stay healthy. If the Dolphins came out, right? Say the Dolphins came out and said, poll, right? Or whatever. Because I've gotten this question asked to me. What do you think about sending Xavier Howard to the Carolina Panthers and getting Christian McCaffrey? I'd say no. No. Dog, are you crazy? Christian McCaffrey is so talented. Yeah, he can't stay healthy. Stop trading for, stop drafting, stop signing people that can't stay healthy, especially on the offense. Devontae Parker can't stay healthy. Will Fuller can't stay healthy. Preston Williams can't stay healthy. Now Preston Williams is in there. He's got concrete hands. I'm done. You undrafted free agent. You had flashes. You can't stay healthy when you're on the field. You got concrete hands. You're not reliable. See you later, alligator. So I like I said, all day today, I'm thinking to myself, what happened? What was the difference? The veteran leadership, the experience, and the coaching. The coaching is different. And we'll go to that, right? Flores. I don't know what happened to Flores. And it's so funny because last year he had a shorter amount of time to get his team ready for the year last year. And he had him more disciplined. He had him better playing than he did this year when he had OTAs, training camp, mini camp, your mom's camp, my dad's camp, my grandma. Like, he had months to get him ready for this year. And they're playing worse than he did when he had a month to get him ready to play last year. In penalties, they're undisciplined. This year so far, there are 45 penalties on the year. So far, 7 games, 45 penalties. Last year, they had 73 the whole year. Third in the NFL in committed penalties. 73. That's what? 28 more penalties? And the way they're going, they're going to hit 73 in about 3 weeks. What bring the TNT wall back. Why did you, what happened? They can't stop the run. When they run the ball, all of a sudden, it's working. We're getting 10 yards. We're getting 5 yards. We're getting 8 yards. Wow, this is working. Stop running. They don't know how to use their good players. They don't know when to own up to their mistakes and move on from the bad players. Albert Wilson, loved him. Thought he could be a real big asset. Thought he could really work well with Tua Tagovailoa. I was wrong. Get rid of him. Mike Gesicki. Tua drops back, throws a pass, 20 yards to Mike Gesicki. What a play! And there goes Mike Gesicki to the sideline. And then you'll go watch the live stream. I know it's long, so you don't have to. But I looked at my father, and he goes, "Why is Mike Gesicki going to the sideline?" I said, "They're going to run the ball. Next play, handoff, run the ball." You're such a tell with your plays. And that's what I'm saying too, because you don't know how to put your players in position for them to be successful. Stop running zone. Stop taking your guy that you drafted 18th overall to be a pass rusher and dropping him back into coverage. Also, stop taking him off the field and putting Brennan Scarlett in there. Andrew Van Ginkel is just bad. He can't tackle. The whole team can't tackle. This film breakdown, it's mostly going to be me showing you how bad and they can't tackle. It's a lot of, I'm going to throw my body into you, or it's a lot of, I'm falling, I'm going to try to smack your legs together. Hopefully you can fall. Horrible angles, horrible tackling by this defense. Where's the discipline? Where's the Flores that would yell, rip off his headset, march across the sideline against the Cincinnati Bengals? I saw him angry once at the end of the game today for me. He lost something. He lost the spark or something. Because his coaching is completely different. Completely different. On defense. And it's funny too, because everyone says he's a defensive coach. The funny thing is, most of his career, yes, he was defense, right? But when he first came into the league, he was a New England Patriot in 2008-2009 special teams assistant. Then in 2010, he was an assistant offense and special teams coach. And then he went to the defensive assistant, safeties coach, linebackers coach. And now he's the head coach. So he wasn't just a defensive coach. And that's why at first when we signed him, I liked the move. I like bringing in Flores because he wasn't just a defensive coach. He wasn't the defensive coordinator. He also had a background in special teams and offense. I'm like, all right, good. This is a head coach. This isn't an offensive coordinator like Adam Gase. This isn't just a defensive coordinator like Dom Capers. He was never our head coach, but you know what I'm saying? It wasn't just one or the other. He was well-rounded, but for some reason, he doesn't see the things that need to change. Stop playing zone. Better tackling. 3rd and 3 today for me. I'm going to keep saying that because I'm dumb. 3rd and 3, you have your corners playing 5 yards off. What sense does that make? How do you look at Josh Boyer and say, good call there? How do you look at Josh Boyer and say, why is your assistance garbage? Why is our secondary not being able to stay on coverage? Why can we get no pressure? Or we get a ton of pressure, but it doesn't lead to sacks. Bad coaching. Bad coaching. That's what it comes down to. Bad decisions by the GM and the head coach, because the head coach has control of the 53-man roster. So essentially, he says to Greer, "Listen, we're gonna get rid of so and so and so and so. I need you to go out and get me Jacoby Brissett." All right, well, I'll see how much I can get for him. Or listen, can you do me a favor? I want this guy. That's how it works when you have control of the 53-man roster. So that's kind of where I came from with the whole what the heck happened to this team. Was a lot of veteran like jettison, a lot of experience jettison. Even, Shaq Lawson, we're going to send you to Detroit. You're going to get Benardrick McKinney, and then we're going to cut Benardrick McKinney because Landon Roberts is better. Landon, not better as in better player, but he's physically got better. But he also can't tackle if his life depended on it. No, Benardrick McKinney's on the Jets, I think. I don't. But that's where I've that's where my realization came. What happened? Why is this team the way it is now? And has a lot to do with that. He also doesn't have a coach that has experience that can say, maybe do this. Or go to that type of coach and be like, I need help here. Is Flores a control freak? Is Flores an alpha male that doesn't want help? Doesn't want someone to listen, blah, blah, blah. Maybe not do that. Is that a thing? Like, because I'm starting to, maybe that's why Jane Gailey's gone. Maybe that's why all these veteran, experienced players are gone. Maybe he didn't want chirping back at him. Listen, it's my way or the highway. And a lot of people saw the highway. How are we going to bring in better OCs, better DCs, better assistants if he doesn't want to listen and work with people? That being said, the future, what is going to happen, right? Well, Tua Tagovailoa came out and he said something in his presser I thought was very interesting. He said that Flores is very honest with him. He sits down with Flores, the whole situation. He understands, he appreciates the honesty. They tell him what's going on, everything, especially the Watson situation. He knows. So he's playing the way he's playing. He's playing more aggressive. He's making the throws he shouldn't, also making the throws he should. Again, that's my biggest thing with Tua is his inconsistencies. But again, I talked about this in the post-game video. Tua doesn't have the luxuries of making those rookie mistakes, those early career mistakes, because he has that microscope on him. He has that magnifying glass on him that, Deshaun Watson is already available. You better hurry up. You threw 2 interceptions. I don't give a crap about the four touchdowns. That's not good enough, the 4 touchdowns. You know why? Because you didn't throw it over 20 yards. You didn't throw a 50-yard touchdown bomb. It doesn't happen as often in the NFL as you think. The fact that that's a thing that I have to hear, well, he doesn't. The touchdowns were under a certain amount of yards. They were touchdowns. You hate this kid that much that you're going to point out a negative in him throwing 4 touchdowns? Well, they were under a certain amount of yards and they were wide open. They weren't all wide open. And I'll point it out. Come on. That being said, and I've talked about this, those 2 interceptions were dumb. Real dumb. Cost us minimum 6 points. You can't be doing that. And again, he does not have the luxury of making those young mistakes because it was his 12th game. And normally 12th game is your rookie year. If you start right away and when you make dumb mistakes, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, he's just a rookie. He'll learn from it. Tua, you can't learn from it, my man, because you got another quarterback hovering above your head like a vulture waiting for your dead carcass so he can come down and swoop you up. He doesn't have that luxury anymore. So those 2 interceptions, even the interception last week, were dumb. And now the magnifying glass gets real close on you. And now all of a sudden people are like, Deshaun Watson wouldn't have done that. Deshaun Watson would have done this. And you know he hears that in his head. And that's why he forces plays. I can win. I can win. Bah, bah, bah. We're down by this much. I'll take us down the field. And he did. And he got us a touchdown. And he got us the lead. And he said to the defense, I just need you one time. We got the 1-point lead. I just need you 3 and out and we'll win the game. Defense was like, hold my beer. That ain't happening. And from that little spiel, people are going to say, Doug, you got to take your blinders off. You're such a Tua lover. Nah, man. I told you he played bad. I told you he doesn't have the luxury of playing bad. Doesn't mean I'm a Tua lover. Doesn't mean I'm a Tua hater. I know football. Young kids make mistakes. He just doesn't have the luxury of learning from them. it is what it is, Tua. And unfortunately, if they don't make the trade by the trade deadline and you keep making these dumb mistakes, he's going to get traded because he doesn't have that luxury. It is what it is. You got Joe Burrow in Cincinnati lighting it up. You got Justin Herbert and I was going to say San Diego, LA lighting it up. And you're here throwing 4 touchdowns with 2 costly interceptions. Last week, throwing 3 touchdowns and 1 costly interception. Get rid of those costly things. Get rid of those dumb mistakes. All of a sudden, people stop shutting up about you. But the funny thing is, they won't. You know why? Because they would say, it's the Jaguars. It's the Falcons. But they don't say it about the other quarterbacks. That being said, looking at the future, right? The Miami Dolphins had 5 draft picks in the first round the past 2 years, 4 second rounders, 2 third rounders, and $94 million. And we're sitting here at 1-6. And that's because of the jettison of the veteran, experienced players. So going forward in the future, unfortunately, I have to show you this, and I told you some of this is going to hurt. But as of right now, this is what the top 10 picks look like in the NFL draft of next year. It hurts. It hurts to see who's at number 2. It would be us, but it's the Eagles. It hurts. We're at 10. If the Dolphins could pull their heads out of their ass and win games that they're supposed to, I think that I can see the Dolphins, essentially the 49ers, doing worse than the Dolphins and maybe flip that over. But I hate that move that we gave our pick. I wish he never did that. I wish he wasn't so cocky. And I get it. 10-6. No one, like I said, no one expected this. But I don't like not having control over your destiny, not having control over your future. And it might have been the situation where the Eagles said, no, we don't want the 49ers. We want yours. Because of that situation where they're like, these guys are messing it up big time. So I get it. I just don't like it. Because now we're sitting here, and if we keep losing this, instead of being like, well, at least we're going to high draft pick, now we're like, well, at least the Eagles are going to draft pick. See what I'm saying? I don't like it. But there's things that should be done to better the future. Now, I'm not going to talk about Deshaun Watson anymore. I talked about Deshaun Watson. You guys know how I feel about Deshaun Watson. The kid is a top 5 quarterback. He's extremely talented, and he could help us win. But those off the field issues, and the fact that they are not going away, and the fact that we don't know what's happening, and the fact that they are there is scary. I'm hearing that if the Dolphins do trade for him, if anyone trades for him, he will play this year, but then it's the future we don't know. It's the big question mark, right? And that's where you're going to give so much draft picks for big question mark. Make sure that there's some type of fine print in there. You got to re-sign Gesicki. Gesicki is the one, besides Waddle, is the one bright spot on this team, that man is consistently getting open, consistently making contested catches, just so good. That's the other thing that needs to happen. Also, play more Mac Hollins. Play more Mac Hollins. Play some more Kirk. Play Kirk Merritt. Take Preston. Trade. I'll get to trades in 2 seconds. But you got to play more Mac Hollins. He is more reliable, a better football player, a better wide receiver. Play him more. Run the ball more. Stop abandoning the run when it's working. 5-yard gain, 8-yard gain, 10-yard gain, 6-yard gain. Then we're going to stop. It's kind of, if their opposing defense can't stop it, don't stop running it, man. Because then all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying? Because then I get it. Like, the reason why I stopped talking is because in my brain I get it. Because then you can use play action, yada, yada. But just keep running the ball. Keep running the ball. Make some trades before the trade deadline. And I'm going to name some names that I don't want to name because I like them. But this is where, and again, this is why I don't think I'm a Tua Near or a Tua lover or whatever, Tua Stan, whatever it's called. Because I put this before a player. And you guys know one of my favorite players on the team right now is Xavier Howard. But coming up to the trade deadline, I would trade Xavier Howard. And that hurts me to say because I love Xavier Howard. I'm actually an Xavier Howard stan more than I am a Tua stan. Because I'm not a Tua stan. But Xavier Howard isn't in the future plans. So I trade him. Because he's not going to be on the team next year. His contract is ridiculous next year. I would trade him. I would trade Devontae Parker. The man can't stay healthy. And I know some of you guys on Twitter is like, you're lucky if you get a bag of peanuts. Well, same thing that was said about Ryan Tannehill, we got a fourth. Yeah, we had to pay a little bit, but we got a fourth. Trade Devontae Parker. Trade Jerome Baker. Unfortunately, right now he's injured, so I don't know if you can trade Jerome Baker, but I would trade Jerome Baker. Just give him such a stupid contract. And he didn't really even deserve the contract. I'd trade Jerome Baker. I would trade any of the assets that you think you're not going to keep or you're not as part of the future plan of this team. I would trade them. But unfortunately, I don't know what's going on with the head coach and the GM. So for me to say you should trade certain players or you should do, because the season's over. We're at 1-6. We're not going anywhere. Hopefully at this point, I'm rooting for a win. So our draft pick is higher than the 49ers. That's the only thing I'm rooting for now. I'm not rooting for wins to make the playoffs. I'm rooting for wins so the Eagles draft pick is higher than the 49ers. See what I'm saying? That's the only thing I'm rooting for now. But I don't know what's going on with the head coach and the GM. Because they both made stupid decisions and they both are the reason the Dolphins are sitting here at 1-6. So that being said, trade for this, trade for that, get this, get that. But then if they do get Deshaun Watson, if they do trade for picks, and if they do certain things, that means that, and I was talking to one of you guys on Twitter about this, and you kind of made sense that it gives the GM and the head coach a little bit of a leeway. Okay, well, you got your quarterback. See what you can do next year. And it's like, well, let's see what they could do next year. Because free agency next year, they got about $80 million in cap space. And if they bring in Deshaun Watson, I'd redo his contract, extend it more, have it spread out a little bit more. But I don't know what's going on with the head coach. The way the way Stephen Ross is, he gives guys an extra year when he shouldn't. And it sucks because Brian Flores went 5-11, 10-6, and now we're dealing with this. Such a quick turnaround, and we want to get rid of him so quickly. And I'm leaning towards that because of how drastic of a change it is. And how, if you're a good head coach, it shouldn't be that drastic. Like, if the Dolphins won 8-9 games this year, then I'd understand. I'd be like, all right, well, maybe you overachieved last year. Maybe you beat some teams that weren't ready because of what was going on last year. So a little bit of a regression. I get it, but this isn't a little bit of a regression. This is bad. So it's like, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Comment below. Let me know what you think of my whole spiel. This is a long video. I had a lot to talk about. There's a lot to talk about with the team. There's a lot to talk about the future of the team. There's a lot to talk about with what happened. If I rambled on too much, I do apologize, but comment below. Let me know, who would you trade? Who would you trade for? Who are you re-signing? What do you think happened that the reason we're playing so bad? Comment below. Let me know everything. This is also going to be on the podcast. I do have a podcast. It's on Spotify. You can check that out. So if you're driving and you want to listen to this, pop over to the Spotify podcast. You can listen to me rambling. But before I get out of here, I just want to reiterate one of the main reasons I'm leaning towards getting rid of Greer and Flores is you had 5 firsts, 4 seconds, 2 thirds, and $94 million in cap space. Plus, it was actually probably around $100 million in cap space over the past 2 years. And this is the best product you can put on the field for us. You make signings in 2020 that you regret and change. This is what you give the fans. This is what you give me, a New Jerseyan who loves the team so much he has it tattooed on him, started a channel, goes down to spend $1,000, maybe more, going down to Florida to watch your games. This is what you put on the field for me, for the other fans, for the UK fans. When you go overseas and put that garbage on the field, something's got to change. Some head's got to roll. And Flores needs to get out of his feelings, get out of his alpha male mentality, and he needs to bring in help. He had Caldwell there. He should have brought him back as the offense coordinator. Like, they need to change something. What it is, I don't know yet, but we'll see what happens, because now something needs to change. 6-game losing streak, something needs to change, and hopefully it changes today. So I think I'm going to release this video probably around 10 o'clock, get ahead of maybe some of the news. But I love you guys. I want to let you guys know that You guys are still subscribing. You guys are still liking. You guys are still viewing, even though this team sucks, even though it hurts, even though listening to me talk about it probably hurts. But I think I use this as like a venting. I vent, you vent to me in the comment section. We interact. I'm going to start doing some more live streams where you guys can talk to me. It's going to be, I have a lot planned for you guys, and I appreciate you guys still supporting the channel, subscribing. The channel's growing, and it's a lot to do to you guys. I'm never going to stop. You get 6 videos minimum a week from me. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow with the Big O show. Or maybe tomorrow, or maybe today with some news, hopefully. But other than that, guys, like usual, stay classy. Fins out.